everybody, no matter whether they are tech savvy or not, we are looking for something in life. Health, wealth, relationships. This technology is so versatile that it can give you all those things. But the problem is that human beings, we don't have absolute clarity on what exactly we want. They want $1 million. And then when I ask them, what do you want to do with that $1 million? After buying a home or going on a vacation, they don't have an answer. They have lack of purpose. This technology, it will help you find the purpose in your life. What are you meant to do? And the skill and the value to deserve whatever outcomes they are looking for.
It's my pleasure to be joined today by Manuj Aggarwal. Manuj, welcome.
Thank you so much. Excited to be here.
So for our guests that are just tuning in here, could you give them a little sneak peek of what we're going to be talking about? And hint, it has to do with AI.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I've spent about 30 years in technology, building software for startups to large corporations like Microsoft. 20 of those years were in AI. I have 4 patents in AI. Some of my work was mentioned by President Obama and Bill Gates. And so today there's a lot of talk about AI. Everybody's sort of trying to figure out this technology, especially in small to medium-sized businesses. So we are going to be talking about how AI is going to be implemented in the small to medium-sized business segment. What are the challenges? What are the solutions?
Yeah, a lot of the organizations that we work with fall into that category. Some of them are maybe even a little bit larger too, but definitely small to medium-sized enterprises are jumping in. Well, maybe not jumping in. Some of them are maybe just sticking their toes in, but I know other ones are certainly jumping in. Maybe they started out using chatbots and maybe they're starting to do a little bit more now. Maybe some coding work, perhaps, things around agentic systems, using Claude Code. I know that's one thing that some of our organizations that we work with are playing with. What are some of the things that you're seeing now in regards to how small and medium enterprises are using AI?
All of the above that you said, but it's more, as you said, like it's very chaotic. Somebody hears the word AI and they get curious. Some people get scared. Some people get worried. And then out of that worry, they start to reach out. They start watching some YouTube videos. And then they say, oh, okay, agentic AI, let's buy a tool and let's try to automate it. Or they will buy Microsoft Copilot license and give it to their team and say, okay, have at it. Just go and figure things out. And then, the team is like, okay, I don't know what to do. Okay, I'll write better emails.
Right.
So all of these things are happening. But the problem I'm seeing is that there is not a cohesive strategy. There's no method to the madness. The second thing is there is no clear return on investment. So people intuitively know this is a big technology. They need to do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
What that is, they don't know. How it is going to work, they don't know. How it is going to pay that the investment they are making, they don't know. So that's the situation I'm seeing in the market right now.
Yeah, and I think maybe I'll ask you this. I think isn't some of that natural anyway?
Yes.
Just when computers first came about, right?
Absolutely.
People did the same thing. They're just kind of mucking around with it.
Absolutely.
When the internet first started, Microsoft poo-pooed it. They said, why would we have, a division that's devoted to the internet? That's like having a division about electricity. It's just it's something they couldn't even imagine what it is, of course, today.
Absolutely. And this is not blaming anybody. This is just how human nature is, how technology evolves, how it's getting adapted. I'm just sharing what I notice in the marketplace right now.
Yeah.
I mean, whoever is jumping in, even if they're dipping their toe, that's courage, that's bravery. I applaud them for doing something about it, and other people will follow. But the people who are stepping up, they are the people who will do the hit and trial and fall over themselves to figure it out. And that's why it's innovation. That's the process of innovation.
Yeah, these skunk work projects, right? Yeah, I mean, I think we're both, our careers probably had a similar trajectory in terms of the time. I don't have any patents to my name, so but we've been in the business for a little while here, and so having seen the internet come from, just first bulletin board services
Yeah,
really
yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
evolve to what it is
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
So I see the same thing happening now with AI, and I feel some of that same energy and excitement and also trepidation that there was with the internet early on. I see that same thing now with AI. Is that a fair comparison, or is AI moving even faster than the internet was?
I mean, I think, see, all technologies build upon each other, meaning the internet was needed for AI to actually emerge. But I think AI is exponentially more impactful and more powerful and more aggressive in its development. And it has more impact like no other technology before. I know, people say, don't say this time is different because every time is the same. But this is the first time in human history that a technology is developed that can do the thinking. Every other technology has enhanced our physical abilities to some extent, right? But this is the only technology that has enabled the cognitive ability. So this is different. This is the implications are, like the CEO of Google has said, Sundar Pichai, AI is more impactful than fire or electricity. So imagine, that statement, like fire is one of the primary reasons why humans evolved into, who we are today, right?
Yeah, of
So
course.
from
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
angle, it's quite more impactful than the internet itself.
Yeah, and I think that's what scares people too. And I think, with fire, you can get burned. And with electricity, I guess you can get burned too. But yeah, I think one of the things that I worry about with organizations is data, right? And so the fuel, if fire's fuel is wood or now oil or nuclear, whatever, it's data when it comes to AI, right? And they're plugging in their data into these different systems, maybe not quite understanding what the implications are from a security standpoint and how the use of that is going to maybe perhaps snowball as time goes on.
Absolutely. So, we were talking earlier about this concept of like, what more data is going to do to human nervous system. But in the business is also an organism. It also has invisible nervous system of its own. And all this data is now, like, as you said, like it's just going everywhere. There is no central digital nervous system that is watching over this data anymore. And with the like kind of like the willy-nilly implementation of AI agents, the problem is getting very, very complex because now people are just laying down pipelines all over the place and saying, okay,
Right.
data goes from here to there, this goes here to
Right.
there. Like, okay, that solves my problem for 1 hour a day. But what is going to do to the entire organization? Nobody has a clue.
Right.
So the idea here is that we need to understand this technology behaves like a human being or a group of human beings. So you need to have a central digital nervous system watching over this whole maze of data and pipelines and AI agents to talking to other AI agents and watching over this as an oversight of what is happening. What is the mission of this enterprise? Whatever we are doing, is this aligned with that mission or not? So definitely. And then on the human side, we can go deeper into it, like as we said earlier. But that's what I'm seeing. This confusion is going to lead to, as you said, unfortunately, in some cases, total collapse. Because that is the only way people will be able to learn that, okay, whatever we are doing is not the right thing. So it's got to be done in a better way.
So, for organizations that maybe discover something that is transformational, so they're dabbling in it in different ways, and then suddenly somebody pops up and says, wow, you know what? I can use AI, and this thing that either I used to do or this group of people used to do that would take days, weeks, even months, now can be done probably hours or even minutes. That is exciting. But at the same time, I think people will be creating things that they don't know what the implications, the long term implications of those things are. And maybe they'll figure it out as they go. They'll just say, okay, I'll reap the benefits now. I'll take the rewards as I see them now, because I can't deny I'd rather get 6 months of work done in a weekend.
Yeah.
But there is going to be a cost for that. I don't know what that cost is. It sounds like you've thought that through a little bit more.
The thing is that human value, the economic system that we currently live in, was created based on friction, human effort. So the more friction we can endure, the more value we create in the world. So the thing that used to take 6 months now can be done in one day, let's say. The assumption here is incorrect, that one day worth of work will be equivalent to the 6 month value that I'm creating. Because now everybody else who is competing with me has similar amount of friction that has been reduced. So the relative value I'm producing in the world by doing one day of work is exactly the same. Right? Now, the question becomes, how do I do one day of work but produce 6 months of value? And that goes by understanding how the humans interact with this technology, meaning the human nervous system is going to interact with artificial intelligence because it acts as an external mind. So when you are interacting with this, it's a true reflection of your mind. And to understand this concept, like, go on any social media platform, Facebook, Instagram, just watch any any like obscure kind of like reel or video, like motorcycles. If you're not interested in motorcycles, the next day onwards, everywhere on the internet you will see motorcycles, because it's a true reflection of your psyche.
Right.
And so, what we need to do is, before we even touch this technology, we need to truly understand what the human wants to do in this world, how they want to produce value. And the solution that we produce is, we actually create a digital twin of the human being first, because this is a very, very fast moving car. So imagine a Ferrari going 300 miles an hour, and people are saying, like companies like OpenAI and Microsoft, they're saying, okay, we're going to rip out the seat belt, we're going to rip out the brakes, we're going to rip out the steering wheel, get all your employees into this Ferrari and go. Okay. That's exactly what is happening right now. So,
Right.
so what we do is we say, no, no, no. First, park the car, get the suit on, that your driver's suit on, that'll protect you. Put the seat belt on, know where you are going, which direction you're going, know how to handle this technology, and then put it in the first gear. That's how you can adopt this technology safely. And then, as you start to do this, it will produce, when you implement one day of work, it will not produce 6 months of value. It will produce 6 years of value. It's exponential.
Wow. Yeah. And I think, you know, I don't know if there's, when you say put it in first gear, is that doing training? Is that just doing small projects first so that you understand what the implications are? I think certain fields or certain areas would be more suited for adopting it.
Correct.
So, for example, programmers, right? So programmers are already used to, quote unquote, talking to computers anyway. I'm writing code, and now I can just have it be my sidekick as I'm writing code. But if I am a programmer, I already know how to sort of architect things at a high level. And so I can give it guidance. I can tell it follow best practices. I can have all of this training and scaffolding that I bring along with it, so that once it creates an output, it can be more aligned with, like you said, what my, I don't know if this is the digital twin, but sort of what my ideal outcome is, because I just want to kind of take away the busy work part of it. Whereas other people that aren't used to interacting with it in this way, I don't know. I don't know what the equivalent is of going 500 miles or 300 miles an hour in the Ferrari.
I can give you certain examples. Yeah. All right. So here is the thing, right? Like, everybody, no matter whether they are tech savvy or not, we are looking for something in life. Okay, that could be health, wealth, relationships, experiences, whatever that is, right? Now, the thing is, this technology is so versatile that it can give you all those things. But the problem is that human beings, as the way that we live, we don't have absolute clarity on what exactly we want. If I talk to anybody, they say, what do you want in life? They want $1 million. And then when I ask them, what do you want to do with that $1 million? After buying a home or going on a vacation, they don't have an answer what they are going to do with it. So they have lack of purpose. They have lack of self identity, of identifying themselves as a millionaire. So they just want a fantasy of having $1 million in their bank, right? So with this technology, when I say first gear, first it will help you find the purpose in your life. Like what are you meant to do? And then you start to shift your identity towards that new human being that has the self worth and the skill and the value to deserve whatever outcomes they are looking for. So I belong to India. I just recently went there. Many of my many I belong to a very small town. Many of my family members and friends, they don't even have a computer. They don't know
Sure.
what AI is all about. But
Hmm.
I created a digital twin for them, and within a week they said, "Okay, my life is already changing because now I understand this technology is a reflection of me, and I can understand myself better, and thereby I can kind of like optimize my life and control my life better."
So you've mentioned this a couple of times now. So explain to this a little deeper, or maybe as if I'm 10 years old.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
is a digital twin?
So digital twin basically is, for lack of a better word, it's just a reflection of your psyche. So human mind is divided into two parts. One is logical mind, and one is the subconscious mind. And logical mind, this is where uh, programming and workflows, the logical aspect of our life lives, but that only accounts for 10% of our life and the results. 90% of what we experience in life comes from the subconscious mind, and that helps us feel our way in the world and respond to the environment around us. So what we do, the innovation that we have, we can scan the mind just through some questionnaires and collecting some raw data. There is no devices or anything like that. Just talking to a human being, we can figure out how their logical mind works and how their subconscious mind works. And now when we create a simple AI by infusing these two pieces of information, it becomes a true reflection of the human mind, but with AI and super intelligence infused into it. So it almost becomes a giant mirror on your own mind. So think about when we want to look at Jupiter, we have to look at it through a telescope, and then Jupiter becomes super clear. It's the same thing with this technology where we create a super intelligent version of you, and now you can look into your own mind and see what's going on.
Interesting. So it sounds like there's maybe a parallel here or an analogy with social media. So I look at some young people in my sphere and I see, of course, this is like the old person thing to say, oh, those young people on their
Yeah,
social media, right?
yeah.
But being influenced unduly. So it's like, is that really what you want?
Mhm.
Or did social media influence you
Sure,
to
sure.
make you think, like you were talking about, like I want
Yeah,
$1 million
yeah,
and
yeah.
to have a house on the beach and these other
Sure,
things.
sure,
But
sure.
but is what you're actually talking about is, okay, who are you? Who is your subconscious? And let's get that in alignment first, because we don't want to happen with AI the same as what happened with social media, that it just takes you down merrily down some path that you maybe isn't in alignment with who you really are. Yeah.
Absolutely, you got it right. And so this fail-safe mechanism that we use is what we are doing is we are creating a filter between AI and the human being. And this filter is continuously monitoring the nervous system state of the user using AI. And what we are doing is the responses that we are getting from AI, they get through this filter, and they ensure the nervous system state is optimized. It's not overloaded. It's not dysregulated. It's not kind of like, as you said, like influencing them into a wrong path. And this is highly individualized because your nervous system is different than mine. What is good for you may not be good for me, and vice versa. So this digital twin has all these fail-safe mechanisms in there. But now you see this is the reason why now once you put on this digital twin, it becomes like a safety suit that you have on, and now you can interact with this AI safely because now, like literally, for lack of a better word, you can like plug in your fingers into the electricity outlet, and nothing is going to happen to you.
It sounds like everybody should have this.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, I guess on the flip side, you see those evil corporations and their marketing, right? So a lot of what's driven. It's so funny when I look at, I was having a discussion about someone this the other day, but you just kind of look at the goods and services that we have in the world. And we were trying to sign up for some service together, and there was all these different layers of stuff we had to jump through. We just wanted to get the service, but no, the service was packaged in all these different ways. Do you want to get this package? You want to get this package? Oh, as a special bonus, if you act now, you get this other package. And there's all these things that were just basically trying to maximize the amount of money that it would extract. The service itself was almost secondary because it was all of these other things on top of it. I can imagine that those kinds of sort of artifacts that are put around things are going to be, there'll be a temptation for companies to do even more of that kind of thing, to package things up in even more kind of way, to optimize to the nth degree how they package and market services to us in order to kind of get around that digital twin.
So, I mean, look, there is no question the world is going to get noisier and noisier. No question about it. And it is going to get so noisy that people will need to hide in their homes to cut out the noise, which we already do now. I mean, loneliness and all that. And that's the reason. And digital twin, these are protective technologies. And unfortunately, just like helmets, just like seatbelts, not everybody wears them. There's a thrill in seeking danger, which people sometimes don't understand what that danger is, because going fast on a motorbike feels so good until you get hurt. So if somebody has ridden a motorcycle, they have gotten hurt, then they know that, oh, hey, next time, we better invent a helmet. And so I have been through ups and downs of life and technology and all that, which has led me to all this discovery. It's not like this is going to be adopted worldwide, but this will be adopted by people who really want to utilize this technology, or it will be utilized by people who first have gotten burned by this raw AI. And then they say, okay, I've learned my lesson. Now I need some protection. So I will use something.
Do you see anybody doing what you just described other than you?
No. The reason, and it's not me, my ego talking. I've been through, as I said, I've been through suicidal episodes. I've been through a lot of trauma, which led me to deep meditations. Meditation is the key to understanding this technology, because unless and until you understand the human mind, you cannot understand this AI technology very well. Now, that being said, there are many meditators, there are many AI engineers, there are many AI engineers who are meditators, but most of them grew up in Ivy League universities. I grew up on the streets. I know the real world. I can talk to a laborer who's earning like $10 a month, and I can help them understand AI and use AI for their life. And I can talk to a Fortune 500 CEO or a billionaire, and I can help them understand AI and use AI. So I'm in a unique position for whatever reason, here I am, but no, not everybody is doing it. Not everybody can understand what I just said. But so, that's how innovation is done.
So it sounds like there's a little bit of a self-discovery path that people need to go down first, or would be at least encouraged.
No, we provide it. We provide it. Self-discovery is not something happens like this is, it's age old. Like for centuries, people have been trying to figure out who am I, what is the meaning of life, and blah, blah, blah. But so this is not like, going to a monastery and saying, okay, give me the AI blessing. This is actually a guided experience where we say, hey,
Yeah.
just like you're asking me questions, you are
Right.
getting to know me. This AI
Mm,
will get to know you in an
right.
objective way, and it'll say, hey, tell me a little bit about how did you get into data? How did you get into podcasting? What inspired you to, have these conversations? And tell me a little bit about your business. As you talk,
Right.
linguistics, your tone, the choice of words, these
Mm,
are imprints of your soul. And as humans, we kind of like lose all this detail because we are just trying to get to the essence of what you just said. But with I can tune it and say, hey, pay special attention to the words, pay special attention to the tone, the linguistics. It will help you decipher what your nervous system is doing right now in this moment.
wow. Yeah, that's fascinating. And I think if there was, I'm not sure how you can talk maybe more about how it's actually implemented and used, but yeah, I can just imagine having some kind of AI helmet or protective device, as you say, although it seems, very dystopian to think about that, to putting on an AI helmet. But hey, that's the times we live in now anyway. But yeah, I think what would it take for more people to, at least some of these frontier model companies, to start to think about having, I don't know if you call it guardrails, or having these protective things?
They cannot do anything about it. Here is the reason. So I was invited to Mensa's annual gathering to present these ideas. So Mensa is the organization with like the most high Q
The smart people.
smart people, top
Yeah.
2% IQ
Top
people, right?
IQ. Yep.
Exactly. So now I was kind of intimidated going there, and I was like, I'm not even a member at Mensa, blah blah blah. But then interesting thing I found out there was that average IQ of human beings across 8 billion people on this planet is 90. And that is a young adult, okay? That has not seen life, or they're just like high on life, nothing can break me. So imagine a company like OpenAI, Microsoft, Google, they have to produce a product which caters to 8 billion people, and they have to cater to the least common denominator. So they cannot put the guardrails that is going to protect somebody at that level. And average IQ is 90, meaning if 4 billion people have IQ less than 90. And this is not a knock on intelligence on anybody. I'm just telling you the reality, right? And so this is why these companies can do only so much and just say, oh, you are feeling bad. I empathize with you. Poor you. It happens. Okay, get up and go on. That is not going to reinforce your nervous system. It is going to suppress you further. But that's the world we live in. The right protection. And this happens not just in AI. Look, I mean, Saudi Arabia produces oil, but that's crude oil. And then there are refineries which are going to refine that oil into gasoline. And there is distribution, the gas station who's going to distribute that gas. There are water stations, like water utilities, which are going to pump water, and then in the faucet before you drink it, you are either going to filter it or you're going to boil it. Electricity is, from the grid, it is high voltage. When it comes to your home, it is regulated to a level that your appliance can use it. So it's not new. It's just that people don't realize that raw AI is dangerous stuff, but
Right.
just consuming it because they just don't know any better.
Right. So what was their reaction at the Mensa group when you talked about these ideas?
So at the Mensa group, they see the thing is, it's very interesting human nature. When we start to sense that there is somebody encroaching our territory, we get scared. They wear their IQ number as a badge of honor. The first few questions, like when you meet somebody at Mensa, what is your IQ? Oh, 146. Oh, okay, okay, cool. So now they're saying, oh, ChatGPT is 150 IQ shit. Like, who am I now? So that is the reaction that people are getting. Like, who am I in this world? Right? But they do not understand that intelligence is multiplicative. So if their IQ is 140, if they use AI properly, their IQ will be effectively 1,400.
Right. But so will somebody that is IQ of 90.
Yeah.
So it just kind of levels the playing field, doesn't it?
So here is the thing.
Potentially.
Yes,
Tell
it
me the
does.
thing. Yes.
Yes, it does. But the the person with IQ of 90 will use the crude AI and pour this
Right.
crude AI into their mind. The person
Right.
using with IQ of 140 hopefully will have a little bit of better sense to say, hey, what this crude AI is feeding me is junk. I need to think better.
Although I know from playing Dungeons and Dragons that intelligence is different than wisdom.
Yes,
So those guys may also just be pouring raw AI directly from an eyedropper into their eyes.
I
So,
could not agree more. Could not agree more.
but yeah, I get what you're saying there. That I think there is a wisdom component, as that it boils down to in terms of how we're interacting with or consuming AI, if you will. Yeah, I'm still going to go back to I know that there's within some of the different AI platforms, there are different instructions or just kind of overall context that you can give it. I'm sure it's not as thoughtful and as comprehensive as what you have put together and you're describing. But are there some basic things that people could do, should do, to help them sort of cater AI in that way when they're interacting with it directly? Or is what you're talking about just like a complete filter that it has to go through and it needs to go through this other thing first that just maybe will stop you from using it? It's just like, you're done for the day.
Answer it this way, right? Human ego is fragile. Human ego is fragile. So I could sit here and say, okay, just add one line to your prompts and say, don't be a cheerleader for me. Be devil's advocate, and everything that I input, point out where my blind spots are. I can say that, and it'll be better than what it is today. It'll give you some filtered input. But how your ego will take it, I cannot say.
Sure.
Right?
That's true.
Okay.
Yep.
So, in order to protect that, the only filter I can really truly endorse is a filter that monitors your nervous system. So, if you get an honest feedback from AI and you feel squeamish about it, it will detect it right away and say, hey, I didn't mean it that way, but
Yeah.
I'm just trying to help you, see this point of view. You understand?
Of course. Yeah. None of us wants pure honesty. We want it sugar coated. Of course. Yeah. Pure honesty is, we don't want the brutal truth. That would be not a good way to go through life. So yeah.
But there is a version of the truth that is the most compatible with our nervous system in this moment.
I like how you put it that way.
Yes.
Yeah. That's true. That makes sense. Yeah. So this you're talking about for an individual.
Yes.
The subconscious of the individual, regulating our emotions, making sure that we're using it in a way that's going to be beneficial to us without harming us. How does that apply, or does that apply to an organization? Is it just doing the same with the individuals, or does the organization itself have I don't want to say a subconscious, but it has a way of being, a way of operating.
Excellent question. I'm so glad you asked it. So actually it scales exponentially, multiplicatively, because what we can do is we can say, let's say, right now we are doing it for smaller organizations, so 7 or like in the team of 7 or 8 people. So what we do is, let's say I create your digital twin which reflects your logical and subconscious mind, and there are 7 other team members in the team. So we create their individual twins as well, and then we create an overall team digital twin which understands the psyche of all 7 people. And then we assign some sort of a goal to this team and say, hey, our goal is to hit $100,000 in revenue in the next 30 days. So figure out who are the best people on this team, work backwards from that goal, and then distribute the tasks in such a way that will be most compatible with their nervous system. Because the titles and the resumes are not exactly all the time matched to what the tasks are assigned in organizations. But
Of course, yeah, that's what leaders are for.
Exactly.
In theory.
So
yes.
now, and leaders don't know much about humans either. I'm sorry. But this digital twin at the team level or at an organizational level now understands humans much better and can exponentially make that progress faster and more enjoyable, by the way.
Yeah, because if you could optimize that, if you could say, hey, I want people to work in their optimal way. Because look, like I run a business. We have 20 some odd people that work here. All of us, even me, you go through various levels of efficiency on any given day, right? Some days you're super efficient, and other days, even when you're trying your best, it's just like, yeah, that was a waste of a day, or I even felt like I took 2 steps backward. But yeah, if and then being the boss, being the leader, you're trying to have that overall awareness of how everyone is doing and checking in and helping them along through their various obstacles and challenges, trying to be empathetic, but at the same time, push them a little bit if they might need it, or maybe unlock some resources if that's somehow how they're getting stuck. But I can imagine it would be cool as a business leader to have something like that that's just like, let's just, not that we're trying to like maximize productivity necessarily, but it's like trying to achieve the goal together as a team, and we all get there in a way that we enjoyed the ride.
Exactly what you just said. You got it exactly. Now imagine you have to take a trip and you are
Yeah.
offline. Like I told you, like I came from India. I was in the Himalayas for about 10 days. No connectivity, no nothing. I handed over my digital twin to my team, and they had to make certain decisions. I was not reachable. They talked to my digital twin. 80% of the decisions they were able to resolve just by talking to the digital twin and move forward. And now what we do is we create a digital twin at every level in my company. So my subordinate, they have their own subordinates. They distribute their digital twin to their subordinates and so on. And so the wisdom waterfall sort of starts to flow without friction.
How does that evolve over time? Because I can imagine, there is a part of me that is not changing, or not changing very much, and then there's other parts that, as I'm learning and growing and stuff, that may change radically.
As you interact with this, right? So we generally recommend people have 15-minute conversation with a digital twin, so that you can update them. Hey, this is what's happening. This is a problem I'm dealing with. Like, this is how I solved it. This didn't go well. This went well. So it's again incorporating your life. And the other thing is, it's incorporating your life experience. But remember, the AI models themselves are getting smarter and smarter. So it's actually adding both those things together.
Yeah, it's it's on the one hand it's so cool, and on the other hand it's so sci-fi. To think about that.
But when you
Yeah,
experience, this is what, like, do you have kids?
I do.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the way I've have the same exact reaction when I explain to people. I tell
Yeah.
them, no matter how many parenting books you read, the first time you hold your child in your arms, that feeling you
Sure.
cannot describe that.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
when you talk to your digital twin, I can logically explain it to you, but the feeling that you get, I cannot describe it, because you are talking to yourself unfiltered, without any judgment, and it's reflecting your true kind of like mind. You come across your own mirror for the first time in your life, and just like, some people start crying and all that. So
I'm not an AI researcher, but I'm a technologist, I guess. Like I said, I've been in this field for a long time, and I do follow a lot of what's going on in AI. I have only seen one person in all of the discussions I've had, or that I've watched and that I've had, that talks about anything close to what you're talking about right now. And that person, his name's Daniel Miessler. I don't know if you've ever come across him or not. He has a channel called Unsupervised Learning, and which is kind of a callback to a type of machine learning that takes place. But he talks about having, it's not a digital twin in the way that you're describing it. That's more complete. It's more of it's kind of a combination of a second brain, but then also having some. I'm not describing it very well, but just having some other goals and other things that are embedded within how you want to interact with AI. Anyway, he's developed this whole framework around this. It's more from, like you said, there's the logical part, and then there's the subconscious part. So I see it as being more from the logical part, but really he's the only one that I've seen that really talks about using AI in a different kind of way than what everyone else is doing, which is just raw AI. So yeah.
Yes, it's a unique solution which will be needed. I've been developing it in kind of like stealth mode for the last 5, 6 years. Last year, it got peer reviewed and published in the Mensa Research Journal because this is powerful. This is needed. This is not efficiency. This is survival of the human race. So I needed to get scientific validation. I needed to get really robust data to be able to come up with something like this. So now we are going to market. We are trying to tell people this is real.
Right.
But just like you had this reaction, it sounds kind of sci-fi, spooky, all kinds of things. But when the people kind of experience it a little bit, just like riding a bike for the first time, they're like, "Oh, this is cool."
Right. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So without this, what do you see coming next, given that we're here now in January 2026? Where are we headed now with the frontier models and with this explosion of AI for everyone else that doesn't have a digital twin?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot of good news here. And you see what's happening in the world. Like, again, no politics or anything like that, but world is not at ease right now. Again, going into my like neuroscience and kind of spiritual roots, it's all energy in the world. So when energy boils over, it shows up in different forms. And what is happening is our mind is basically a receptor of data from the environment. So we evolved as human beings to live in nature, to listen to bird sounds or river sounds. That's how we evolved for past 200,000 years. And in the last 20 years, we are like now I think we produce in 1 year more data than past like 100, 200,000 years combined. So you can see like it's compressing us, it's pushing us into the corner as a human race. So the problem is there's going to be a breaking point where people will be saying, okay, this is not like this is no like it's not working. How much more can we automate? Because we are automating at the speed of silicon, but our biology, the carbon brain is not able to catch up. That's why people are confused. Like, what's happening with AI? Like, what the hell is going on? Even people inside these companies, I talk to them. I'm peers with them. People from OpenAI, people from Anthropic. They are busy building bigger and bigger models because they want to get to AGI, and they don't know what AGI is.
No, they don't. I think it's a marketing term. I was watching a podcast with Fei Li, who's one of the pioneers of AI, and she was talking about, she doesn't think that LLMs, which is the chatbots, right, are really what AGI is. And she talks about world models and that, if we're going to have AGI, it would need to interact with the world, so maybe like a robot or something like that, right? That can actually interact with our environment, which if it's not scary enough, folks, I guess this is what they're working on next. So, but yeah, even AGI otherwise, I think is what exactly? It's maybe just the equivalent of that 90 IQ person that can just do business work, perhaps, various kinds of business work, whatever you throw at them. Write this report, do this thing, do that thing, balance this account, whatever, stuff like that. That may be what they're referring to when they talk about AGI.
Correct. So let's, that's what I'm trying. So you asked me like what is the state of the world? So they are racing towards AGI. People are trying to implement as many automations and AI agents as possible, not knowing where the hell data is going. And let's just assume we reach so-called AGI today. What is going to happen is going to cause about 25% or higher unemployment within next 6 months. Okay, it's already starting right now. So we are heading into listen, first and foremost, I am very optimistic about AI. Okay, this is the path to abundance if used correctly. But I'm seeing what is not being used correctly, so I'm describing that. But this is not me making everybody afraid, because I have a solution for that. But the problem is that it is going to lead to Great Depression level unemployment. And now people governments will be forced to give you universal basic income and whatnot. So people will have money, people will survive. But our identity will be lost. Our purpose will be lost. So if somebody gives you, say, okay, $5,000 a month, you sit at home, do nothing. What are you going to do? First 2 months you will enjoy it. The third month you will be in a solitary confinement almost. So how do you help people find their purpose in life? How do you help them change their identity from, a 9 to 5 worker to somebody who's now going there, creating something new? These are the things that people are not thinking about because they're just busy automating. But this is what we will be needed, very much similar to air or water is needed for survival.
Nothing good will happen if there's 25% unemployment. Heck, if there's even 10% unemployment, nothing good is going to happen because the economy, and at least the Western economy as we know it, will not have a good time.
So it's
Because
a very, it's not a,
so much of his,
yeah, it's not a
yeah,
very difficult equation to solve.
of course.
In US alone, there are 10 million people whose job it is to drive a vehicle.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think that's the most in most states in the United States. I saw a statistic about this. That was a while ago, but it's probably not too far off still because they're not automating truck driving yet. But the most common profession was truck driver.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not difficult to understand what is going to happen, how the world is going to be shaped and all that. So yeah, that's what I see.
Just and thinking about some of these businesses, I guess that, yeah, they're jumping in and automating everything away. But I think at some point, people bring more to a business, I think, than just the actual task that they accomplish. And this goes back to like, what is the heart of your business? So if your business can just be done by robots and that's it, then what are you at the end of the day? Like, how much value did you actually bring? So maybe that business isn't really worth that much after all. I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
Here is the shift that people need to
Tell
make.
me.
Okay. So the thing is that a business solves a problem.
Yeah.
That is the only reason why business exists. In order to make sure we solve the problem well, we create a structure because a human team is needs to have a structure to be able to collaborate with each other. We don't trust inherently each other. We make mistakes. As you said, we're not 100% all the time, at our A level. So we create a structure. That is the friction that we create to be able to create value in the world, right? So imagine when we were hunter gatherers, we were created. The friction in our life was about finding the rabbit, killing it, and then one day somebody said, "Hey, we should throw a big rock across the mountain, kill an elephant, and then we'll eat for 30 days." So that was a bigger friction. Then somebody said, "Hey, you know what? Like I sow some seeds in the ground, and then I just waited for 6 months, and then I had so much food." So people were like, "What the hell are you doing? The 6 months? We cannot sit on our asses for 6 months. You are crazy." Some people went this way, some people went this way, right? So now, in to answer your question, you cannot automate your way out of this thing. You need to think the problem I'm trying to solve, how will AI solve it? Or
Right.
is this even a relevant problem to solve in the AI world? Should I look for a bigger problem to solve?
Right.
Okay. Elon Musk is sending rockets to Mars. He
Well, not yet, but he wants to.
Sure.
Yeah.
So he overcame NASA. He overcame his Tesla is more valuable than Ford, GM. And I'm not a fan or anything. I'm just showing you the power. Elon Musk is not a Superman, but he has this technology at his hands. Amazon grew into a $3 trillion company, not because they had millions of people waiting for you to press, buy now, and then they immediately pick a package, and they have AI running their entire warehouses. AI is the infrastructure that has shaped this world so far, and the rich people got richer because they knew how to use this technology. Now with LLMs, everybody can use this technology. Now that is the only difference you need to have. Think like a billionaire, not like a small business owner, because those limitations are gone.
Yeah, and I think if you can make a software program that can accomplish what some other software program they've been working on for 10 years, and you can write it in a few months, and now you can compete directly with it, then it just really comes down to what brand, distribution. If building the thing is now much easier for everyone to do, it's actually user adoption and brand recognition and distribution. Those seem to maybe matter more now.
You got it absolutely right. Brand is the key. That trust. The noisier,
the trust.
the noisier
Yep.
the world gets, the less
Yep.
trust people have.
Right.
But if you have the trust, if you have the brand, you can sell anything.
I'm curious now in this age of AI, there's all these companies rushing to automate things. Once upon a time when mainframes first came out, now granted, I wasn't doing programming back then. I'm not that old, but like businesses wrote their own software. That's how actually things started. They would have programmers or maybe they outsourced that, but they would write their own software for all kinds of things, even word processing, their ERP systems, their accounting systems, you name it. Their businesses ran off of software that they wrote and ran on the mainframe. And then a revolution came along and we decided, well, we don't like the beardy guy in the corner because he has too much power over us and he has made this little fiefdom. We're going to outsource that now to vendors, and it's less risk to use some vendor software and put our customizations in there. But now our customizations are trapped in those systems. And those systems, we maybe bought that first. There was a capital expense to buy it. I bought SAP and I customized it. And now, then it went to the cloud. Now it's no longer a capital expense. Now it's an operating expense that only increases over time. I wonder if some of these businesses are looking at the SAPs of the world, which maybe that's too big of a comparison to start with, but smaller versions of that to say, hey, you know what? Like, I'm going to pull some of that back now. Whatever custom stuff I gave and is sort of locked into your vendor system, I'm going to pull back, and using AI, I can write my own thing to keep my business logic my own, and maybe use open source tools and open technologies to do that. And AI is good at writing code. So I wonder if there'll be a shift toward some companies pulling some of those things back.
Let me address this, right? Let's do a mental exercise. Okay?
Let's do it.
What do we write code for?
To solve a problem. To
And
fix.
generally that problem is communication or validation between human beings of data. That's it. Because we want to make sure what I said, you understood it well. And what you said, I understand it well. And we create this entire behemoth of technology just to make sure that I can trust you.
Yep.
Okay.
Let's put all the data in Snowflake.
Yeah.
Let's transform it 8 ways from Sunday using all these different things.
Yeah.
So that I can give you a report
Yeah.
that you trust the data.
Correct. So 80 to 90% of what we call work or code is just to satisfy human ego. And in the world of AI, there is no such thing. It doesn't need code. You just tell it, I want this outcome. It'll do it. You see, hunter-gatherers to farming, your complete mindset need to shift. You need to look at the world in a different way.
Yeah, but if it still needs to, if that thing is like, I need to send a fully cooked rabbit to Manuj because he doesn't want to go hunting for rabbits anymore, there still needs to be a distribution component to get it there. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, that is the only thing. That's what I'm trying to say. The 80 to 90% of service-oriented business that we do, the accounting, the ledgering, the legal, that's just to satisfy human ego. So 80 to 90% of that work is bullshit in the world of AI.
The pregnant pause. Yeah.
In the world
No,
of
I mean, you're right, but I think, you're right at the end of the day. But but we are humans.
Correct.
For example, we work with a lot of nonprofits, right? And so
Yeah.
nonprofits do a lot of fundraising.
Yes.
That's what is the engine that drives their organizations.
Yes.
So part of what they do is they have fundraisers that are basically act as a salesperson would, right? And they meet with people that are prospective donors or maybe previous donors and try to get them to donate more money, and maybe we'll name a building after you and do all these kinds of things. But a lot of that is there's a relationship and a connection part of it. So they feel like they're a part of that organization, so that they buy into that brand of that organization, and then they want to give their money to it.
So let me break that down. Okay. NGO, I know that world very well. So NGOs, at the end of the day, as you said, the key part of an NGO is relationship. Key part. That is the human to human interaction. AI will never, ever be able to replace that. That is the only value we will be creating. Remember what I said, the brand value and trust. That is the only value humans will be left with. The rest of the work that NGO does, which is CRMs and reminding people and sending the invites and keeping in touch with them so that they stay on top of their mind of their prospect. Those are the systems that 80 to 90% of the work they implement so that they don't forget to keep updating the. Now I can simply create an AI which says, please make sure they don't forget about us.
Maybe backed by some deterministic systems in there too, so you make sure that it actually does remember those things. But yeah,
absolutely. But you can see now I can like aggregate the data and then I can say, but here is the thing: when my AI agents are given this responsibility to make sure that they don't forget us, it will interact with their AI agents, and they will be just talking to AI to AI to AI, and so humans will again be left with this conundrum: how do we actually interact with each other in the real world? So you see, there's a like it's a mind-bending problem that is going to create like a sector-wide collapse, because everything will become kind of useless.
So do organizations basically just hand their data over to AI? Because I think a lot of the value that organization has is around their data and kind of the unique way that they're solving their problems. So part of what I was talking about before was organizations that maybe want to claw back some of that custom business logic that they're paying so much money to have embedded in these big vendor systems. That gives them two things. One is can maybe reduce their cost, but the other is that in theory, they could have better control over their data. They could put it in a world that they have governance over, that they're understanding how it's being used and how AI is plugging into it. And that way, when we are getting the answers, whether it's from our digital twin or whatever, this AI talking to that AI, we can trust that it's at least making the right decisions because we have set up the infrastructure to make that happen.
You're absolutely right. And we're not just like putting our data in these big organizations. We are actually renting our data to them because they are
exactly.
We are renting the data, and then we are paying them fee to, hey, I'm keeping my I'm keeping my valuable with you, just like keep it safe, here is my fee, and in the meantime they are churning it. And so you are absolutely right, where now people can take agency back and own their valuable stuff, which is data.
Right.
Moving forward, data is the only thing that is going to be valuable. So the more data you have on yourself, on your company, that is your key. And then that is the key insight in this conversation. You want to start taking control of your data, but do it in a systematic way. If you just start to implement like all these, chaotic AI agents and you think, oh, I'm AI first, that is going to create a collapse.
Because it seems like if you're going to do that, you'd want to have some policies, maybe some data classification that you're doing, the kind of these governance components to it. And AI can help you actually figure that out, but you would at least need to decide, what is sensitive data, what is data that can be used for this system and not the other system, those kinds of things. Yeah. This conversation, Manuj, has not gone in the direction I thought it would, but for the better. This is I was, as you saw there, I was a complete loss for words for at one point, because I was just really thinking through like what that means, and it's not a bad thing. I was just like, I don't necessarily know of the implications of all these things. It's like, wow, it is incredible. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, when you put one step after the other, and you can say, hey, how this world is going to be in next 5 years, there is no such thing as a QuickBooks accounting package, as a SAP ERP system, as a CRM system, because no need for all that stuff.
Don't tell them that.
No. They know it.
But good thing this podcast is not sponsored by Intuit or SAP, so we can say, get rid of those guys. Yeah. So yeah, I know they're trying to come up with their own AI things or whatever. But yeah, anything else that before we wrap things up here that you'd want to share? I'm really curious about the digital twin.
Yeah. So let me go paint the good picture now. Okay.
Paint the good picture. Yeah. Yes.
So I described the bad consequences. If you put crude oil in your car, this is what's going to happen. Now, if you refine it, remember I told you, think like a billionaire, because this is what's going to happen.
I don't know how billionaires think. All the billionaires I've seen think, I don't like how they think. So
my point is, in order to get what you want, wealth, health, prosperity, success, whatever that is, there used to be a cap on your ability, because you needed resources to get other people enrolled in your cause. You needed to pay them salaries. You needed to pay them rent, or rent a place or whatever. That was the cap. If you can accumulate all that, then you can start to build. All that is gone. A single person is building $100 million companies today, right now. And in 5 years, there's going to be billionaires, multi-billion dollar company with one employee. Okay. So if you use,
that's crazy.
If you use this technology correctly, then you can truly, this is not me, this is not my words, Sam Altman, Elon Musk, people much, they have gone on record saying you can be a billionaire in the next 5 years.
Right.
If you use this technology in the right way.
There's something that's exciting about that. It's just like, woohoo, we can go and finally, build that thing that I wanted to always build, and maybe we'll go build that. But the other part is just like, I guess just keep on keeping on, maybe is less of an option than we thought it was. Because maybe some of us don't want to think like a billionaire, and then maybe we'll be out of a job.
Well, let me put it this way, right? Okay, this is the way I look at the world. You may not want to look at the world like a billionaire, but now finally you can tap into that music passion that you gave up, or like going flying across the world because you needed to be in Seattle to make sure the business runs. These type of things, finding your true purpose in life will become a real achievable goal. If it happens to be $1 billion, so be it. Or if it happens to be helping kids in Africa without you sacrificing your life, or saying it's either helping other people or me starving, or whatever that is, right? So those things are now possible.
Yeah. I'm not a programmer. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a CEO. I'm not even an entrepreneur. I am Glen. I am Manuj.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And finding out what that means.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow. I think that's a great place to end it here. So Manuj, thank you so much. This has been a fantastic conversation. I really enjoyed having you on today.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for tuning in to Data and Confused. I really appreciate you listening. Please go ahead and subscribe as I get this podcast off the ground. I have a lot of amazing guests planned, industry experts and thought leaders from the tech and cybersecurity world. So look forward to seeing you in future episodes. Thank you.